All right, I'm here back with another exciting episode interviewing entrepreneurs, and we've got Jason Payne in the house, founder of State 48 Roofing here in Arizona. And I love bringing in my locals, my desert crowd. Jason, great to have you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast with me.
Ryan, thanks, man. Excited to be here.
Hey, so I'm going to dive into your background here in just a minute and get a little bit of story of like your growth and where you're at from your business. But I like to jump right into a question. And the question I want to dive into is someone that's operating a business like yours, your boots on the ground, you're working with your team all the time. How do you decide when to continue to invest into an employee versus it's time to let them go? Are there signals that you see as you're doing this? How do you know if they're worth keeping versus cutting?
It's a great question. That's a loaded question too. So I have 71 employees, and I believe I learned this from my buddy Brandon Dawson that you hire for hunger and energy. Because I have sales reps that make 150, $200,000 a year that didn't know anything about roofing or even sales, and within a matter of months or even a year or so, they're out cranking. But I love hiring for hunger and energy, and I also feel like but you don't fire for that. I believe you fire based off your core values, and that's what I do. I have my core values all over my office, and anytime my team goes against those, I have to friendly remind them, "Hey, you went against this core value. Let's not do that," because no one is higher than the company. No one. I actually stole that from Yellowstone. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
Yellowstone? That's like no one's above the ranch, right? And I stole that, and I like nobody's above State 48, and that means compromising our core values. So when you compromise our core values, that's when you have to let somebody go. I also do a thing called PPS, so personal, professional, financial goals. And we do them every 90 days. And people that don't want to show up for those or kind of give a half-ass approach to them or execution towards them, you kind of know something's off. And in between those 90 days, you can just tell. You can tell when they're checked out. You can tell when they're not on the CRM. When they're not. We have Monday, Wednesday, Friday group calls. Everybody hops on those, gives wins, personal wins, professional wins. If they're not hopping on those, they're not engaging. You tell a really negative attitude. There's a lot of there. I don't think there's any one like aha thing, but definitely the lack of energy and lack of hunger are signs. But those that also, in my opinion, trickles into the compromising of your core values. With core values, there's no emotion. Like I don't believe there should be emotion in business other than the emotion of celebration. So you fire based off those core values because there's no emotion. Like, hey, here are our rules. Here's our standards. You compromise the standards, you got to go. So yeah, it's very simple. So
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really hot topic right now is it's the human side of business and it's coaching, managing, inspiring up to like the human side of it. So I love the fact you're getting them engaged. You're having those dream conversations about kind of where they are in their life. Dream Machine's a great kind of philosophy or tactic to kind of inspire
sure.
and motivate the team. So I love that. Um, Jason, if you wouldn't mind, give us a little backstory. State 48 Roofing, it's been around now several years. Can you give us a little backstory, kind of where you started from and where you're at today?
Yeah, I'm a desert rat, man. Born and raised. I'm a third generation Arizonan. Born and raised here in Gilbert, and went to Gilbert High, and had like I think maybe a 2.2 GPA if I got lucky. Played a couple sports. Love outdoors and love sports. And skimped by graduation, and then went and played baseball for a year up in EA and the other LDS Sun Belt in the Gila Valley, and played baseball up there for a semester, and then went on my mission. So I'm LDS and went to Mexico City for 2 years, learned Spanish, came back and did landscaping for about a year, and then my uncle called me and said, "Hey, I need someone to run our Guatemalan and Mexican crews on our production side. You have the Payne work ethic, we call it. You speak Spanish and you have a clean driver's license. You're hired." And I said, okay. So I went from 12.50 an hour to $14 an hour in January of 2010, and never looked back. So worked for him for about 5 years doing production. Wanted to make more money. He said, well, you need to do this thing called sell. I said, okay, what does that look like? So I got into sales for another 3 years. Became his GM for about a year, and then after about a little over 9 years, tried to buy in, and he said, no, thank you. And we couldn't agree on something, so I left and went and did outside sales for a year. Sold what did I sell? 1.8 million from my own self-lead generated leads, and at that point I was like, hey, I want to start my own business. And so yeah, August of 2019 my wife and I, my now COO, who's my assistant, office manager, call setter, all the things. Just Dory and I and my wife and a two-man crew. Started out of my third car garage. I believe all awesome businesses are started out of the garage, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and yeah, and we did 1 million in 5 months, and then we just cleared 2 million actually for the first time ever, 2 million in a singular month, October of 2025. Actually, I think we're gonna do it again this month. So, but yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, very very
Great,
blessed. But
great story. Great growth. I love the work ethic behind it. So I'll get on my stump for just a little bit. I see way too many people come out of college and like, I want to be a business owner, or they want to just jump right into it. I love your growth through grit. So you went in, you learned the sales process, the operation side, you learned all of that to be able to get to where you are today. I think that's
sure.
phenomenal. That's a great playbook for anyone out there that's looking to become their own boss is go be a great number three. Go be a
Oh,
powerful number two at a company and then step out on your own. Going from no experience to trying to, be number one is very, very difficult.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes the younger generations are making is they want to go from they want to skip the trench work. I love that.
Yeah.
I think just the good old, remember that those little trench shovels are like what, 3 or 4 inches
Yeah.
wide, and they're for pipe, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'd rather just pay somebody else to do that. I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to buy steel toe boots. You need to buy Levi's or Wranglers. You need to get a t-shirt, and you need to get a cowboy hat, and you need to sweat through all of it for like 5 years. Like literally just do it and learn as you go. Don't just do that because I read a freaking amazing quote that said, money does not reward effort. Money rewards value. Because
Absolutely.
you see people that do the exact same thing for 20 or 30 years, but they made the exact same amount of money for 20 or 30 years. Why? Because the effort, but they show up every day, they work hard, 9 to 5, they're phenomenal at their job, but they don't add any more value. They just add only this much value, and they don't add any more value, so they don't get raises, they don't get promotions, they don't, because the value doesn't go up. The effort is there, but money doesn't reward effort. Money rewards value. So as you're digging the trench, also figure out, well, where does the dirt go when you're done, or how, like, why do we go this deep instead of that deep, or what materials do we put inside? So that would be one of my biggest things. How I became successful was I asked a crap ton of questions. I was obnoxious. Like if ChatGPT was here, 15 years ago, I would be like, why this? Why this roof? Why this shingle color? Why this? Why this material? Why that? Why this warranty? Why this manufacturer? Why this supplier? And I would just ask a gajillion questions. And then, but I didn't have that, so I just asked people to say a gajillion questions. So
Yeah. OpenAI is losing money on guys like you. So I love it. I love the curiosity in there. Jason, one of my biggest things about growing a business is knowing what tasks to delegate versus what tasks to do more of.
sure.
How do you decide on what to delegate versus what do you focus on now? Maybe I'm sure that's changed over time, but maybe you could talk about like what you're doing now and what you had to let go of.
So I went straight into management. So I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to throw on my tool belt and my shingle gun and my nail gun, and like I never put on roofs ever from day one. I went straight into management. So I was already managing 2 to 3 crews, literally from the day I started. So I didn't was up on a roof tearing it off. So I immediately knew how to delegate because I don't know how to put the roof on. I'm like, I trust these 4 guys up on the roof to put it on, and then I'm going to use people and brochures and the internet to make sure they put it on correctly. But from the beginning, I delegated that. Then from there, I mean, as I built my business and got around mentors and people, I'm like, okay, well, there's only so many hours in a day. How come Trump can get this much done in a day? How come the prophet get this much done in a day? How can a business owner get this much done in a day? Elon Musk, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, it doesn't matter if you're a gazillionaire or if you make $10 an hour. We still have the same 24 hours in a day, but these guys can get so much more done in a day, and these guys complain they only get one thing done. And I was like, they know how to delegate. Let's do a hire and delegate, hire and delegate. And so my thing is, I call it, I have my own coaching program called Scale. And one of the biggest thing we use is called the 2,500 rule. So, I mean, I think minimum wage is close to $20 an hour now, feels like it.
Yeah.
But any of those dumb, I call them dumb, not to be disrespectful, the easy, mundane, check the box tasks that still need to get done, but they're not high value, but we do those because they're fulfilling or because I can do it faster or it's easy to do or whatever it may be. We do too many of those and not enough of tasks that move the needle. So the $20 an hour rule is any task that I can pay somebody $20 an hour to do, you do it. And then as you grow and scale your business, then that goes to 50 and then 100 as well. Because $20 an hour is $41,000 a year. $500 an hour is $1,000,000 a year. Like that's net profit in your bank account, not gross. So my thing is, okay, if I want to be a millionaire and I want to make $1,000,000 in a year, I need to be doing only $500 an hour tasks. And so in the beginning, you're not making $500 an hour. You're making probably 50 or 100 or 200 or 250 as you go. And so, but you're still not doing 20 because if you are, you're only valued at $41,000 a year. Your bank account should reflect 41 grand and not 100 grand or 250 or 500 or a million. And so every time I'm okay, what am I doing? Like, is this really like, am I pulling a trailer? What does a trailer driver pay per year? I don't know, just ballpark. I already did it I personally did it for 5 years. I know it pays anywhere from 40 to 60 grand. Nowadays, maybe 60 to 75 grand. But it's never in the history of the world, a trailer driver for roofing has never paid $200,000 or $150,000 or even like a juicy $100,000. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need to hire somebody to pull the trailers so I don't pull the trailers because if not, that's the income that I should make. And so I just did that. And with every single thing you just write down, my dad has the baby boomers, right? They have these glorified yellow notepads. I don't care how you do it. Write them down, use a dry erase board, use a smart board, or use whatever. I use a smart board. But write down the tasks that you're doing on a daily basis and then write down the value per hour of that task. And then your goal is to hire and delegate those cheaper tasks, those easier tasks, those less valuable tasks as much as possible, because those will basically dilute the $500 ones that actually move the needle in your business and to actually make you money.
Yeah, I love that. I think it reminds me of a Dan Sullivan philosophy is who, not how. And that is a big issue. Is like, don't worry about how you're going to get those tasks done. Figure out who's going to do them for you. And I love that philosophy. I think that's a very common success factor formula for a lot of growing entrepreneurs that I've interviewed and I've worked with. So I love that approach, though, just charting it out, getting the smart board out, and just mapping out everything that you do. I have a friend of mine who he's in the tech space and the software space, and so it was a little bit easier to do this, but he would literally record his entire computer screen for an entire day, then use software to compartmentalize it out and say how much time he spent at every single task throughout the day. And then that was his starting block, is it watched his entire screen. So he learned pretty quickly, like, I should not be the one in this app doing these changes. That needs to be offloaded because that took 45 minutes out of my day. And if that compounds over a year's time, that's a lot of time that I could, save to be doing more meaningful work or more sales prospecting, higher tier accounts, that sort of thing. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, the next tier, Ryan, with that is like decision fatigue. You see the Harbaughs and the Musks and those guys, they wear the same shirt, they eat the same food, they go to the same gym, they do the same thing. Yeah. Why? Because they're not spending all this time and energy deciding on what they're going to wear or what they're going to, the shoes or the pants or the shirt or what they're going to eat. Like, they know, like, just with me, like, I know exactly what I'm going to eat. I walk into my fridge, I grab my meal prep, I put it in the microwave for 60 seconds, I put my sauce on it, I put my pico on it, and I eat it in my truck as I'm driving. Boom, done. So we're like, oh, well, I need to go. Then I got to go to the store. And then I'm at the store. Now you're at the store for an hour, right? Buying stuff that you don't need to and buying dumb crap. And then, all these things. It's like, no, I know exactly what I'm going to wear. Here are the 4 or 5 shirts. Pick one of the 4 or 5 that all say State 48 Roofing on it. And then I'm wearing one of my 7 pairs of black pants. Just pick one of them. I have 2 pairs of shoes. I'm going to get gross and dirty shoe or a really nice looking good shoe and put those on and you move on. But that's a different, that's further along down the road. But the principle is still the same, is can you make decisions quickly? And then, what's permitting you from making those decisions at all, let alone making them quickly so you can move the needle in your business?
I love this. I love this conversation. I'm gonna get back to the hardest part about delegating is trust and having the right person do the task. It's going to not only not do it right, they're going to do it efficiently. And they're going to do it as good or if not better than what you can do it. When you're in that hiring process and you're hiring for people in your company, are there a couple of maybe 2 or 3 things that stand out to you when you're asking the right questions, when you're interviewing, if you know they're going to be the right fit or not?
Well, I don't think trust is built from an interview, from an onboarding interview, from a resume. I think resumes are actually the exact opposite of trust. I think half of them are bullshit and fake. Or they're fluffed to make themselves look good to land the job or whatever.
Yeah.
So I love probationary periods. I would love to spend. I have two different filters. I have the natural one where you have to send us a 60-second video to my COO. And if you don't send a video, I won't even call you back. I don't care how qualified you are. I don't care how many letters and numbers you have behind your name. You don't send me a 60-second video, I won't call you. You can't follow something as simple as sending me a video, I'm out. But a video tells so much more than a resume, right? Are you scared? Are you intimidated? Do you show up? Are you presentable? Do you look good? Like what's the background and all those things in 60 seconds. I didn't say 5 minutes, just a quick 60 seconds, who you are. I see the energy. I see your tone. I see your body language. I can see so much of that in a 6-second video. 9 times out of 10, I'd be like, nope. I just hired a trailer driver last week. I got 4 videos. 2 of them I said no. They're just no. Sent them to my team on a group thread. Nope. Then the 2 I said yeah. And my team had already picked the one that we're going to hire before I even interviewed him, because they already went through there. They already talked to him. And I said, hey, call them and talk to them. Feel them out. Do they have energy? Are they hungry? I can train anybody to pull a trailer. It's not rocket science. But the trust thing is cool. Well, he says he knows how to pull a trailer. I've never seen him pull a trailer. How scary is there? That can cost you a lot of money. You can kill people if you don't know how to pull a trailer driver. If you don't know how to pull a trailer, pulling too much weight and you don't have your brake set up and all those, there's a lot of variables, right? And even if it doesn't, you're not talking about killing somebody, but what if you lose an account? What if you lose a customer? That turns into a domino effect and compounds to losing multiple customers, or losing an entire neighborhood, losing an entire zip code because your reputation got compromised because you didn't train somebody correctly. And I think trust has to do with a lot of people. I just posted this morning on Threads, is that a lot of times we don't trust ourselves. How can we expect to trust our spouse and trust our kids and trust our team members? We don't even trust ourselves. And so that trust comes within. But in the business, I believe that training builds trust. And if I can trust that person, that means I've trained that person to where they will do exactly what they tell them to, because I've trained them on exactly what to do. When you don't trust them, it's because you haven't trained them. And that is a self-reflection, an ownership self-reflection quality that most people don't want to take on because it's hard, or it's a pain in the butt, or you have to use Loom or all these apps or documentation or write it down and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah. It's like, and that's why you don't know what they're going to do. And you're like, I really hope they do a good job. It's like, why are you hoping? Train them what to do, show them how to do it. We call it teach, show, watch. So you teach them how to do it on paper. They can read it if they want to read it, right? Then you show them how to do it. You show them pulling the trailer, as an example, right? You show them backing up the trailer, how to park the trailer, how to detach the trailer, how to hook up to the trailer. Where do you put it? Why do you put it there? And then you watch them do the exact same thing, and you can critique them. And you don't just do it once. A lot of times we have this glorified onboarding process, and we hire them and we train them, and here's your 2 weeks and go get them, Tiger. And then we never talk to them again. Like, what are you doing? The training never goes away. It's always consistent. So I think you need to be meeting with your team once a week, your production team, your admin team, your marketing team, your sales team, your C-suites guys. Like, you need to be meeting with them. It doesn't have to be for 4 hours. It could be 30 minutes. Just meet with them and train them, give them a little bit of nugget. And you can also, with technology, you can send them audio messages of training. You can send them videos of you training. I literally just did one on my way here from a roof that I was on for a possible warranty. I was up on the roof. I had my meta glasses on, went bloop, just press the record button. You can use your iPhone, by the way, and recorded like a 2-minute training video. Hey, here's what to expect. Here's to diagnose it. Everybody thumbs up when you're done. Sent it to the thread. They all liked it. Boom, 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 boom. And we're done. Now everybody's been trained. Instead of me having to take everybody out there, now they're trained on it. And you can do it. But training never ends. But trust and training, in my opinion, are like 2 words, like husband and wife. There's nothing in between it. There's nothing around it. There's nothing that can compare to it. It's trust and training all day long.
I think that's so valuable, because I think that's also where you build your leadership from for your next chapter, your next growth or expansion, is because you now work closely with those people. There's mutual trust. It's not just that you trust them, but it's also that they trust you. You're building that relationship. Sure. That human connectivity can help you kind of foreshadow that success curve as well inside your organization. So many times we're looking for talent pool that are, the grass is greener on the other side. They're trying to poach people. Sure. Or trying to look outside of it, and they don't realize investing in those core people now. I mean, I don't even know the succession pattern, but it's some staggering number that like 90% of all Starbucks, top level leadership all started as a barista at the earliest stages because they stayed in Starbucks, they learned, they got trained, they proved themselves, and they grew up within it. You see a lot of these great companies that have done that, and I think there's a lot of power and truth to
Yeah,
the importance
my
of training.
my first employee was making $40,000 a year as a call setter in Dory. She's now making, I don't know, 150, 200K a year. But she also went through, I trust her to do the small things, setting appointments. And we go from setting
Yeah.
appointments to scheduling jobs. We go from scheduling jobs to then doing payroll, then doing audits, then doing insurances, then doing all these other things. And so she did that. And then she hired somebody underneath her, Shannon. Shannon also started as a call setter, making $15 an hour. And now she went from a call setter to the senior call setter and to an assistant production manager. Now she's my production manager making six figures in this other wall right behind me. But once again, she built that trust
Yeah.
in each department as she went, where I could trust her to take on more stuff. What happens is, as her team or some team members don't want to grow, and you have to understand that. Like Andy Frisella teaches us that some people, we still need people to flip the burgers. People that don't want the it factor, they don't want it.
Yeah.
It's
That's a
okay.
good point.
It's okay. Because like I said, it's like not everybody can be the CEO of McDonald's. If then who's gonna flip the burgers? Like,
Yeah.
and that might be a season. Some people might just like doing that. Hey, I love what I do. I'm passionate what I do. I'm built into the vision. I just don't want to take on that extra risk and that other crazy. I think Jason, I think you're crazy. I think what you're doing is absolutely psycho. I don't want that. I love this, and you need this, and I'll do this. One of my trailer drivers, he's like, I just want to pull trailers for the rest of my life, and I'm like, okay, I have 8 dump trailers. Someone's got to pull them. Cool. That's all he wants to do. I was like, but I told him, I was like, but you're never going to make 150 grand. You're going to make somewhere between 60 and 80, maybe 85 forever. He's like, that's totally cool. He's like, I'll work hard. I'll show up every day. I'll do this. But it's like the next tier of like growth and whatnot. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm out. I'm like, okay. But you don't know that unless you have those conversations, right? And you have those check-ins with your guys.
I don't know about you, but I think I grow to respect those types of people more than anyone else. Is those that know exactly what they want and they will own it. And they're not going to be the false, lip service where like, yeah, I want to grow, I want to be a
Sure.
manager, but then they're not really willing to put in the value or the time or the effort. They just want the title or the paycheck to come along with it. So kudos to that driver. Mad props
Oh yeah.
because there's few and far people between that just can declare exactly, no, this is what I'm good at. This is what I want. And I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the hardest thing in life for most people, whether it's, with your spouse, with your kids, with business, with your finances, like, what do you want? Religion, like, what do you want? And then a lot of people are like, I don't know. And so there's do circles. They don't know what they want. So they just do this for sometimes their entire life. You have people that are 60, 70, 80 years old and they're like, I still don't know what I want. And I'm like, dude, you're almost dead. Like, figure it out. Right. But like that guy is like, no, I know exactly what I want. I know what I want to do. I know how to get there. And that's how you create that trust that you talked about. When there's a leader that knows, like Elon, if you ask Elon where he wants to go, what he wants to do, he knows exactly where he wants to go,
Yeah.
what he wants to do, how he's going to get there, when he's going to get there. And are you a person on the bus that's going to help me get there? Yes or no? I already know where I'm going to go, and I'm going to go there with or without you. Do you want to be a part of the success, or do you not? Get on the bus or get off the bus. And that's how. And when people can see that from a leadership perspective, whether you're the owner or you're in charge of your department, whether it's sales, marketing, production, or admin, like when that manager or that owner has that type of fire in their heart and in their soul and in their eyes, people trust that. They know Jason's never going to fail. Jason's never going to let me down. Jason's never going to do something unethical because he has showed me and proven to me time and time over and over again and again that he's always going to take care of me and he's always going to show up and he is going to hit his goals, right? He's absolutely psycho along the way, and we're in trip and fall and stumble, but we're going to make it happen. And some people they want that. That's the reason why a lot of people like corporate America. I think it's absolute bullcrap personally, but a lot of people like that because there's consistency with, if I check in at 9, check out at 5, I know what I'm going to get, I know what I need to do,
Yeah.
and they like that routine. It's a hamster wheel in my opinion, but the principle is still the same. Where there's that trust of like, I know when I show up, this is what I'm going to get. Uncertainty is the number one thing to kill trust and instill fear in people's brains and hearts.
I love it. Jason, tell me about State 48. What's the next chapter? Let me before you answer that, let me say it with this.
Sure.
one of my favorite CEOs in the Valley is Clayton Mask. He was the founder of Infusionsoft and Keep, and has built some amazing software and invested a lot into the Arizona ecosystem here. One of his big things that he talks about is the power of ones and threes and the roadblocks that come with it. So as a business grows from your first 100 to 300,000, there's going to be different challenges going from 100 to 300,000, from 300,000 to a million, from 1 million to 3, from 3 million to 10, 10 to 30. The ones and threes tend to present different challenges and different obstacles along the way. You've been growing like a rocket ship in the last 5-6 years here, but I'm sure you've felt different ceilings, so to speak, different plateaus where you're gonna have to reconfigure, retool, kind of who you are, what the business is. So with that in mind, tell me a little bit about kind of what's next for State 48. What are some of the challenges maybe you've been facing over the last year that have helped you get from that roadmap, from that 10 million to that running to that next 3, which would be the 30 million mark?
Yeah, my buddy Brandon Dawson owns Cardone Ventures, and he talks about he calls them breaking points. And there's different synonyms for them, but the principle of it being like, I think of it, my buddy Sean Whalen talks about it like being a snake. He's like, the snake stays the snake, but he always sheds his skin. And so when he sheds that skin, he becomes a new version of himself. He never stays the same, or the snake would die. So you have to shed your skin. So you're always re-evolving as you go. And then another analogy that I heard from somebody, it's like when you're a boy and you're growing, even if you buy the best pants, you're still going to grow out of those pants, and those pants will no longer serve you. So you need to get new pants. And that might be, and you might be able to stay in those pants for, 6 months. If you're going through a growth spurt, you might be out of it in 6 months.
Wow.
Other ones, you might be in there for 2 or 3 years. And as you go, but you're always the goal is to always continue to outgrow that shirt or outgrow those pants. And that's kind of been something with me. It's like, okay, I know that my health, my mental health, my body, I know my marriage, my relationship with my kids, all of that has to change in order for me to become the next level and the next version of myself that God wants me to be. And so the current version I am right now is not good enough. So that's why I have like FOMO. I have mega FOMO. Like I just do. Like I'm always like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Like, Jason, why aren't you complacent? Why are you grateful? I'm like, I'm very, very grateful. I'm just not content. Right? Like, and I'm not content because I feel like God put something in my heart. Is like, no, sir, you have more to do. Like, don't you freaking stop. Like, I have a plan for you. Keep going. I'm not telling you what it is because that's cheating. You got to figure it out. But it's not what it is right now because you're not dead yet. And when you die, then you can call it quits and hang it up. But you're not dead yet, so keep going. And that's been one of the biggest things for me. Is like, okay, cool. So at a company, we already cleared 12 million. We'll probably clear at least 13, maybe 14 million this year in revenue. And I want to get to $25 million in revenue. So I already medically know that I need to shed myself and my mindset, my scarcity mindset, that ceiling of, okay, well, you're 1.5 million a month is not good enough to get to 25. But that's your goal, right? Yeah. And it's not being ungrateful. It has nothing to do with that. It is simply, what do you need to do? Because what you're doing right now, the number of leads that you have is not going to get you to 25 because it only got you to 13 or 14. The number of crews that you have, you literally don't even have enough people to put enough roofs on to do $25 million revenue. Oh, I need more crews. And you don't have enough dump trailers to dump all their shingles in order to get to 25 million. Okay, cool. And you don't have the marketing to generate the leads, or you don't have the sales team with either a high enough ticket or a good enough closing ratio to get to 25. So you need more sales guys that can close better with higher tickets. Okay, cool. So then, what does that look like? And you write it down. And then and you go through every tier and every department of where you're at. Like, what does your marketing look like? Oh, your marketing budget is, it's only 100 grand. Well, it needs to be $500,000, or it's $500,000, it needs to be 2 million, or whatever it is. And so just knowing, I think reverse math has probably been one of the biggest strong suits that I use reverse math all of the freaking
powerful
time.
Exercise. Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of people do it enough.
And I think a lot of people don't do reverse math because they don't know what the standard math is. They don't have any data in order to create formulas. So it's like, well, what's your average ticket? I don't know. Hey, ChatGPT, what's an average ticket? Okay, well, let's figure that out first. Yeah. And especially these guys that are doing, 100 grand to even $1 million, they have no idea. They don't know what their closing ratio is. They don't know what their booking ratio is. They don't know what their average ticket is. And so without that information, that data, then you can't even create predictability in order to reverse engineer the predictability of wanting to hit another bigger number. Like your ones and threes that you talked about. How do you go from 10 to 30? Okay, well, how do you go to 30? Okay, well, at this ticket, at this ratio, this is how many X you need to get or do or buy or sell or build or bring in. And that reverse math has really, really helped me along the way. But um, yeah, I'm gonna ride it hard for about 2.5 years and then see what's in store for me then. But one of my biggest things I learned the last 24 months, one of my buddies just sold Green Mango for $98 million. 38 years old, 37 years old. My buddy Cam Bodden. And I got goosebumps. I'm like, dude, have the end in mind. Like whether you're LDS or not, like I don't care what your religion is, but like in our world, like we know that there's a life after this. Cool, there's something to look forward to after this. Like, but like, what's the next thing? Where's the exit? Okay, we die, and then there's something after that. Like, we just don't think we're ever gonna die. We're just gonna own our businesses forever, right? My uncle's doing that with his roofing company. My dad's doing that with his flooring company. They've had it for 40 years with no exit. Like, where's the exit sign? Every office, every house, every building has an exit sign because eventually you have to leave. But like, when is that? Where is that? What does that look like? And then do the reverse math to get you to that exit sign. Nobody teaches that. WP Carey doesn't teach
very
that.
hard thing.
Nobody freaking teaches that because they don't want you to. Not getting like political, but like the big world and the agenda, and nobody's teaching that. Nobody, Hermosi and Cody Sanchez, right? There's a couple, blue collar serial entrepreneurs that are teaching that, but like traditional school books, you never figure out how to build and scale a business. And if you do, cool. How do you exit one? How do you sell one for 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million? Nobody teaches you that, right? And it's half-assed at best on YouTube, but there's no book to learn how to do that, but people are doing it, right? So like when you build a business and you grow and scale a business and that's what you want to do, like when do you want to hang it up? Who would say, I want to do this for 40 years and sell it for $500,000? But we have millions of baby boomers doing that right now because nobody taught them when they built their business 30, 40 years ago that you should have an exit and sell it for commas and zeros that you can retire with millions of dollars in your bank account and create all the experiences that you want with your kids and your grandkids and the ones that you love. Like they just fugazi, they let it dilute. It just goes away. It just disappears. No, have an end in mind. Have an exit in mind. Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there? When are you going to hang it up? And then go 100 miles an hour to get that exit, get that money.
Yeah, I think it's powerful. I think you need to know when to go buy that helicopter or not, right? Like what's your next chapter look like? No, I think you're right. Nobody's teaching that, but also I think it's hard for people to live outside of FOMO. And what I mean by that is we're in a culture of FOMO or a fear of missing out of, do I sell too early? And I think a lot of people wait too long rather than taking chips off the table when the moment's right. And I like that point where if you know ahead of time, you know where your mark is, you know when to turn left and exit and be out. Otherwise, sometimes you're going to be exposed too long and you're going to miss not only the opportunity of selling, you're going to miss the opportunity of time. And you can't really buy that back. And it's the time to spend with loved ones or family or to go enjoy the wealth or the prosperity that you were able to cultivate along the way. So I think that's a really prudent point. My question that would follow that though is, and maybe you have the right answer, maybe you don't, and that's okay. How do you get a team to buy in on that? How do you get a team, your support system, to buy into Jason's vision of like, hey, he wants out so we can go buy that helicopter? Like, how do you get that buy-in along the way?
I believe that you have to make sure that your team member's vision fits inside your vision. And I believe that a lot of people think too small, they dream too small, so other people's dreams don't fit inside their dreams, so they never get on your bus. You have a short bus, you have the little handicap bus, you need a bigger bus. And eventually you need to go from a normal bus to a Greyhound, you go from a Greyhound to a plane, you go from a plane to a stadium. And that's how you get those people involved, is because we're very selfish. So from the get-go, like, what's in it for me? Hey, here's where I want to go. Here's where State 48 is going to go. Here's where you and your family and your bank account and your legacy and your body and your mind and your spirit is going to, I'm going to help you reach all your goals. I'm going to help you accomplish and kick ass and complete all of your goals. And if you know what they are, we're going to find them, we're going to write them down, and we're going to execute them. Because if you do that, Zig Ziglar talks about it, right? His infamous quote. If he can do that, if you can help them accomplish their goals, they will naturally help you accomplish yours. But a lot of us, it's all about, as business owners, right? I want the yacht, I want the toy hauler, I want the bus, I want the helicopter, I want the mansions, I want the second home, I want the Bahamas, I want the whatever. But then we don't bring those people along with you. Like what's in it for me, what's in it for them, and you sell them on that vision from day one of what goals do you have, and your goals that aren't my goals, their dreams are not my dreams, they shouldn't be, right? But helping them accomplish theirs along the way, you'll easily accomplish yours all day long, and they will be freaking sold on it, because nobody in corporate America gives two shits about you or your dreams. Nobody. So when you can make it about them, game over. Game over.
That's spot on. And I think it goes back to what we talked about at the top of the call, which is you sit down with your reps every 90 days and you're talking about kind of what their dreams, what their financial goals are, their personal goals, their aspirational goals. When you can align to support your team's visions and their goals around kind of the objectives, that success creates success. And that's where a powerful culture is built and comes to play. So I think that's a phenomenal answer. I love what you're doing in the home services space. I think more people should follow guys like you, Jason, that kind of have it dialed in. You know exactly what to do, where you're going, how to get there, and you're executing it on a very transparent and public way. Could you share with folks kind of what you're doing with your training program and how they can follow your journey?
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it. It's somewhere over here. Oh, it's behind me. There's a copy of my book. So, 8 Phases to 8 Figures. That's my book of how I built a 8-figure business in 40 months from scratch. No capital, no investors, no help, just blood, sweat, tears, grinding it out. But I've had people ask me, once I started doing over about 7 million, closer to 10 million in revenue, like, hey, can you show me how you did that? Hey, can I take you to lunch? Oh my gosh, the number of, hey, can I take you to lunches? I'm like, dude, I eat salad and go, like, or I have meal prep. I don't need a $10 lunch, and I don't care for $100 steak right now. Like, what do you want? Well, I want to pick your brain for an hour. Then say that. Like, I'll give you 15 minutes while I'm driving from this appointment to that appointment. Like, hit me up. What do you got? And hear them out and give them a couple nuggets. But then I have people said, hey, I just Venmoed you $1,000. Can I talk to you for 30 minutes? And I'm like, okay, and kind of go that route. And then other part too is, like I said, LDS or not, like I have a patriarchal blessing, and just these you feel God just punches you in the freaking mouth when he's like, hey, you need to go help these people. And in my opinion, that's the blue collar space, and that's small business owners. These guys need help. They're begging for help. They want to work hard. They're great people. They're good, Christian, God-fearing, conservative men that want to just be freaking alpha male studs and provide a great living for their family, have an amazing sex life, have a ton of kids, and create this beautiful business and help people along the way. But they just don't know how. Yeah. Or they've had really shitty examples and role models. Maybe they don't have a dad. Maybe they have a shitty dad. Maybe they worked for a really crappy business owner and boss, and they don't know what a good one looks like. So they treat their employees the way that they were treated, which is crap. So and so that's kind of been my calling and my role there. So it's called the Scale Mastermind. About 30 to 40 guys we meet every Tuesday here in my office, and we go over stuff like that. It's not just about growing and scaling a business, but like my biggest thing is, dude, you got to get in shape. You got to be eating healthy. You got to you cannot be out of shape. It is unacceptable. God gave you a body. There's people that don't have limbs. There's people that have illnesses. They didn't do anything in order to create those. And you have a beautiful, amazing body that you just put freaking poison and absolute crap into. Like, shame on you. So your body. We also do it with, I call it the three things. It's what you consume, right? What you consume with your mouth, what you consume with your eyes, and what you consume with your ears. Like, you control all three of those things. You do. It doesn't matter who's in the Oval Office. It doesn't matter nothing. You control all three of those things, right? And so when you can really get your mind and your soul and your spirit aligned, get your body aligned, then you can get other things and other people aligned, like your marriage, right? 51% of marriages end in divorce. None of my friends, my goal is to have 0 of them end in divorce. And as the guy, especially as the men and the males, it is your fault. You take responsibility for that. You own it and you fix it. Don't make it's not your wife's job to fix that crap. It's your job. So the mastermind is the scale is it's a figure 8. It's an 8 here in the book. So it's an infinity sign, because it never stops, right? Yeah. It never stops. You're always doing it. Like, oh, I'm a great husband today, or this month, or this year. No. You need to be a great husband forever. Always. You be a great man of God. You don't just have a relationship with God while you're on your mission, or pre or post. No. You get on your knees every freaking day and you say, okay, what do you have for me? What can I do to help? Where do you need me? right? And do it with your kids. You don't just be a great dad when it's convenient or when you retired and hung it up. No, you're a great dad from before you even conceive, because you're being a great spouse. And then you show your son or your daughter how it is, how to be a great man, a great woman. And then it bleeds into business. In that order, right? It's you, then your spouse, then your kids, then business. Never changes orders ever in that priority, because I actually did that. That's what kind of almost broke me about 3 years ago. Was I got those priorities mixed up. I almost got divorced. My kids hated me. I got fat and out of shape. My business started going, taking a nosedive. And I said, okay, cool. I need to realign these things. And so I need to realign myself first. And a lot of us, we want to point fingers instead of saying me. David Goggins, one of my good buddies, and one of my favorite speakers and amazing books, talks about the men in the mirror. Right? You can't blame anybody else. Look up in the mirror, like, it is your fault. If you're successful, it's your fault. If you're fat, it's your fault. If your marriage sucks, it's your fault. If you're like whatever, right? If you have an amazing life, it's your fault. And we think his fault is like a bad thing. No, it could be a great thing, right? And so that's what the Scale Mastermind is. It's blue collars focused. You don't have to be a guy, ladies too, but yeah, definitely blue collar small business owners. I'm helping them get out of that. The average small business owner does less than $3 million in revenue, has less than 10 employees, and goes out of business in 5 years or less. So one of our shirts that we have is "Be the 5%." Be the 5% that doesn't go out of business in 3 years.
Yeah.
But in that order. But like, I'd rather have you be a great human and a great dad and a great husband and a great father first, and then we can work on your business. A lot of people just want to work on their business because the other things are just, they're too hard to work on, or they're too embarrassed that they have to own what they've broken, and they need to go fix it.
Yeah. No, I think it's all true. I don't know an entrepreneur or CEO that is in my circle that hasn't had to go through a little bit of a crisis of their own, just like you were sharing. I know I've gone through mine, and it's amazing when your health is not dialed in. It's amazing how other relationships can bleed into every other aspect of your life and ultimately come down to your business. And a big advocate of when you work on yourself first, business always follows. And your mind's clear, your energy's better, and you can inspire those around you. I think there's a lot to be said for employees to look up to their leaders, the business owners, to be thoughtful, to be kind, to be inspirational. And it's kind of hard to do that when they're a slob, when they're having a hard time getting their own act together. It's kind of hard to be inspired as an employee to be at that company and help them achieve those goals. So fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. How can people
Yeah.
follow you and follow the journey?
Ryan, sorry, you just ran into a mutual friend of ours before we hopped on this. Before we hopped on this, a mutual friend of mine. I told him 30 days ago, dude, you get your crap together. You're fat. You're out of shape. Like, dude, like he has daughters, he has sons. I'm like, dude, like, who do you, if you don't want them to role model you and where you're at right now, right? No, so they have to look to somebody else. Don't let another man raise your kids, and
Yeah.
don't let another man don't make your kids look up to another woman or up to another man other than you and your spouse, right? Like, be the example, set the tone, be the example. And yeah, but it takes intentionality and humility and recognition, but it's 100% doable, and you can
Yeah.
start tomorrow. You can start today. Um, yeah, my biggest thing to follow me, Jason the Roofer on Instagram would be the fastest, easiest way. Um, I drop. I think I'm pushing 8,000 posts on there.
On
Yeah, there's a couple
Instagram?
on there. I have 7,994 posts. I'm 6 posts away from 8,000 posts on,
I love that.
and it's not like, oh, here's me and my wife like
Right.
feeding bread to the seagulls. It's how to be a better spouse, how to be a better dad. It's how to be a better business owner, working out, helping people, serving the community, giving back, all those things. How to grow and scale a business. All free nuggets, man. They're all on there. Jason Roofer.
What powers you? Is it going back to just you're just passionate about helping businesses, small business owners? Like what's the fuel there, Jason? What's the fuel of sharing all those nuggets on such a regular basis? I know you touched a little bit on it, but I think that's important for people to understand is because the social media can become so vain, but then people
Sure.
can use it for so much good. And I truly believe you use it for a lot of good because I've seen your posts and they're very intentional. But what is that deeper purpose? Like what is that deeper motivation?
Dude, it's when you have this thing called a spirit, or God talks to you in your soul. There's no one around, but you feel like someone's talking to you and tells you where to go and what to do. once you ignore it and then you get humbled and then you hear it again, don't ignore it. And I ignored it for a long time. Um, but like I said, I just I feel moved. I feel driven. I feel there's purpose there. People need help. And I feel
Yeah.
like God helps a lot of people so they can help other people. I don't think everybody's struggling. I think we all are to an extent or a degree, but sometimes we kind of figure it out. But dude, my thing is like just help people, give back. My parents, I have amazing mom and dad. All we did was serve. Can't tell you how many people freaking I helped move like over the years, or food or canned food drives or scout camps or
Yeah.
all those type of things, just giving back and giving back and giving back and giving back and giving back. And then all of a sudden, like I blink and I'm like, I have this amazing life. It's like, why? Oh, it's because I help this person, I help this person, I help this person. And it just always comes back. But having that giver's mindset is like something because I've been given much, I too must give. And yeah, there's I'll tell you what, I put on some of the best roofs, some of the most sexy roofs, no pun intended, my sexy roof status, right? I put on some of the most sexy roofs in all of Arizona. And there's nothing more fulfilling than seeing a man change his body. There's nothing cooler than seeing a guy not have a relationship with his kids, and then all of a sudden he's glowing because he gets to be a part of their lives. Nothing cooler than seeing
Yeah.
a guy taking his wife on date night, and having an amazing intimate life when it was in shambles and shattering, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago. Um, because like I said, the word relatability, that's the reason why a lot of people talk to me or I hang out with is the word relatability. I'm like, I've been through the shitter. I've been through some things, and people that haven't been through there can't relate. So it's hard
Yeah.
to connect with people. But yeah, just helping people along the way. When they're down, pick them up, man. Because guess what? Eventually you're going to get kicked down and you're going to get knocked under, you're going to get teeth kicked in, and you're going to get kicked down and knocked out. And not if, but when, whether it's me, maybe my kids, um, and maybe their spouse, maybe their kids one day. I want them. I want people to know that say, "Hey, your dad was an amazing man, and he helped me, and so I want to help you." So that's why I do it.
That's powerful. I think it's absolutely inspirational. I think the world would be a lot better place if everyone lived with that in mind. Is how do you want your kids to remember you? And if you could anchor around that emotion, it's a powerful place to go.
100%.
So, Jason, I'm gonna leave it there, man. I really appreciate it. Heartfelt, full of incredible insights and knowledge. Follow along, Jason the Roofer. We'll have his link to his website and socials throughout. But again, just want to say thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Ryan.
All right.